If you work for a perfume counter, only spray those who ask for it. Okay? Because a lot of us out there actually feel like it's assault to have someone spray something on you. Hi, I'm Kate, and I'm a bit of a hot mess today, but here we are. Welcome to Always Check In Rule, where we discuss life, the universe, autism, and anything else that decides to just fall out of my head. And it could be anything today. Could be anything most days, let's be honest. But today, let's talk about sensory overload, because it's been a day, and also everyone has senses, right? We're human beings. We have, vision and hearing and taste and smell and touch. People like to forget that touch is a sense. I don't know why, but yes. It's funny, I actually have nerve damage, so my sense of touch can be really, really strange, and I occasionally don't have a really great ability to do hot and cold with my hands and will hand people very hot things, which can be overwhelming. But that's not what I mean by sensory overload. Now, I'm over here on the Cleveland Clinic website because I just find they have a really wonderfully succinct way of putting things, and I am a lot of things, but succinct is not one of them. Know your strengths. So, what is sensory overload? Have you ever had too many tabs open on your internet browser? When you're trying to do a bunch of things at once, your operating system gets overwhelmed and just can't keep up. Everything slows down. Maybe your screen freezes or otherwise stops what it's doing. Yeah, sensory overload is kind of like that. When it descends on you, it can feel almost paralyzing, and suddenly you're the human equivalent of a blue-screened computer. I mean, I definitely feel like I'm buffering half the time when someone asks me anything. Like, what do I want to eat? What's my favorite thing? Yeah, just buffering. I don't like to go full blue screen of death personally, but we don't get a choice to when we're overwhelmed and overstimulated and just scanner style. What triggers a sensory overload? Sensory overload can be prompted by a lot of different sensations, and what triggers yours might not trigger the person sitting next to you. Preferences, tastes, and you know what? What triggers me one day may not trigger me a different day. It's almost like there's obviously extenuating factors. When I am more stressed out, I have less bandwidth to put up the stuff. And I'm only now at almost 40 learning that. I mean, it feels obvious when I say it out loud now, but I honestly, not a thing I ever factored in before. So, sound. Loud and persistent noises like concert music or a cacophony of voices around you in a restaurant could cause you to feel sensory overload. So a lot of people do have that, especially with the rise and use of noise-canceling headphones. People are having a harder time learning how to filter out background noises. I actually can filter noise fairly well. I can watch a TV show and have a conversation with someone at the same time and then be able to give you a reasonable summary of what's going on the TV and also what I was talking about with someone. Blue Pete's mine the first time I did it to him. Because we were watching a show and he was like, I don't even know what's going on. I'm like, oh, this guy and this guy, right? Because I might not know their names and the full plot, but from what I can tell, and make a lot of inferences. I'm terrible to watch TV with, especially if it's a murder mystery. I will just start guessing who the killer is, and I'm usually pretty close to right, if not dead on, really quickly. That's not what this is about, though. But you know what my sound issue is? Sounds I don't want to hear that I can't control. So, like living in an apartment building, anyone else's noise, any of my neighbors. It drives me up a wall. I have people upstairs, don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're wrestling a gorilla. I'm not sure, but I have to keep moving my stuff around because I'm tired of listening to all of everything in my cabinets dink around because you have no idea what it's like sometimes. And she's the quiet one. I've had roommates. I can't do noise canceling headphones, but I do rock a lot of headphones. I'm alone most days, but because of the noise around me, I have headphones on that are playing something, so I can still hear some things, but it's quieter because I cannot turn the noise canceling on. It gives me vertigo, which is super annoying. No one wants to crawl around just because they didn't want to hear their neighbors fight. That family has moved out though. So, moving along, because wait, that's settled. Sight. When there's a lot going on around you and you can't figure out where to look or what to focus your attention on, could feel like sensory overload. Bright lights or flashing can also make you feel this way. If you are not from a major metropolitan area and you go to like New York City, that's overwhelming. There's so much to see and do. Walking into a casino, that's intentionally there to overwhelm you and trick you and make it so you can never figure out how to leave again once you've gotten inside. Some are easier to navigate than others, is what I'm learning. But I think that's true of everything. But yeah, bright and flashing lights. I have to wear sunglasses when I go outside on an overcast day, and I've actually found that I have to have my sunglasses on at night if we're driving someplace because of headlights. LEDs are too flippin' bright, and we need to control them better. I'm gonna get off that soapbox and move on to the next thing: smell. Perfumes and cleaning supplies are just two of the types of scents that can feel overpowering and lead to sensory overload. Yeah, and actually, if you work for a perfume counter, only spray those who ask for it, okay? Because a lot of us out there actually feel like it's assault to have someone spray something on you. I've had asthma attacks. I'm also really allergic to holiday scents. So, yeah, you can imagine I don't go to anywhere where that stuff is sold anyway because of the scent specifically. It's so overwhelming. I don't particularly care for florals. Most of them give me massive headaches. I don't like scent. I use mostly unscented products in general. And by product, I mean we're talking like shampoo, leave-in conditioner, soap. Because I don't wear makeup. I'm sure you've noticed by now. I promise you I have eyelashes, but mascara, foundation, lipstick, anything, I don't like the way it feels. It messes me up. My senses are awful. I want to scream the whole time it happens. It's wildly uncomfortable. I can wear certain moisturizer, so I try to make sure it's one with an SPF 15 and a chapstick. And not every day. Only sometimes can I wear chapstick. So, I can't even wear fingernail polish. Can't breathe. Hands can't breathe. This is about smells, though. Yeah, cleaning supplies. I have something I spray on my shower curtain because it keeps getting orange because our water is orange, which is gross. They say you can drink it. We don't drink it. We cook with it because it is safe, but it does turn everything orange, and that's awful. So this one stuff I have to spray on my shower curtain once a week, and then I have to vent that, open a window, vent it out, and close the door to that whole system so that I don't breathe it in because it hurts. And we don't use bleach. Just cleaning oil gives me such a headache. I mean, cleaning gives me bronchitis because I'm that allergic to dust, but that's not what this is about. Moving along, touch. Some people are extra sensitive to the way certain fabrics feel. You could experience sensory overload from, say, wearing a scratchy material or donning tight or uncomfortable clothes, or wearing makeup. I think we just covered that. Yes, there are lots of fabrics I don't like, though. I don't understand microfiber. It is a sensory nightmare. Why would I want that? Or especially if it's like the inside of a sleeping bag and you've got rough heels or something and the sleeping bag just sticks to you. Like, oh, no, none of that. Absolutely none of that. Ooh. Skin's crawling just thinking about it. Of course, it was still kind of crawling after thinking about the aforementioned makeup and whatnot. And if that's your jam, more power to you. It's cool. Like, I actually think nail art is fascinating, but the first thing I was able to realize was I could not deal with my nails painted for any length of time. It took me a lot longer to understand that any sort of anything on my face. The only times I've worn makeup as an adult were for being a bridesmaid at weddings, and that's because it's what the bride wants, not what the bridesmaid wants. If I'm just a guest, I'll do my hair nice, but and not up too high because sensory issues. I have very heavy hair. I don't know if you can tell. It's thick, and it pulls. I used to wear my hair in a bun a lot for work, and it would just pull at my head all day. And by the end of the day, it would hurt. Taking out a French braid hurts. Putting it in hurts too. And I actually can't French braid. I'm lucky when I can just regular braid, I also can't, everything has to be on the side. I can't do it back here. My shoulders don't like that. And I do stretch, but I wonder if the pops popped up. I've been having weird sound issues today, so, and my joints are making noises. So, we'll find out if that got picked up. We got one more sense to touch here to trigger. Taste. The scent, texture, and even spice level of certain foods can trigger sensory overload. Like if you're eating something new to you or something very spicy. So, we've discussed my food allergies before, so I promise you, spice will give me a sensory overload. And actually, I didn't even realize that I didn't explain what specifically happened. I alluded to hives after alcohol, but I didn't say what just happens when I get an allergic reaction. And remember, this could be from the smell or the taste or the touch. So that's 3 senses right here that we're just going to bombard with a food allergy problem, right? So first, I'll smell it, and I'll start itching with my lips, then my gums, the inside of my mouth, then it'll go to my face, all the way up to my scalp, and then down. And it just slowly covers, right? So then my whole skin is just, but then if I were to say not smell it so that I didn't realize what was in it, and I were to touch it first in a way that I was exposed to the thing, then my skin might feel a little tingly wherever I touched it. I'm looking at you, habaneros. Which, yes, I knew I shouldn't have touched it, but I was being helpful, and I regret that. But you should help people if it doesn't harm you. So then we'll get down to if I eat the thing, and it's a bad enough reaction, because sometimes I'm just itchy, and my tongue hurts. But it can also be that my taste buds will swell and blister. So then they're just burning. Just everything is burning on the inside and itching. But it's the type of itch you can't scratch, not just because it's your whole inside of your mouth, but also because it hurts. It just hurts. So when I'm having an allergic reaction, I am overloaded. to the max. Just. And sometimes that's what I want. I just don't enjoy that one. I would say that's actually my most common like sensory overload, other than like the sounds of my neighbors, which I'm looking at the clock and you may meet them auditorily too because they're coming home soon. So what are the symptoms? Sensory overload symptoms. Let's just keep going. So they interviewed a psychologist here, Dr. Twork, Tworek, and I'm going to put that up on the screen with her first name too. But yeah, when your body's alarm starts to go off after being triggered, it can feel different for different people, which, yes, but she's absolutely right. So it's a general feeling of stress, anxiety, confusion that can seem almost paralyzing, inability to focus, irritability, feeling it, racing or intrusive thoughts, dizziness, a flushed red face, shaking or trembling, sweating, tightness in your chest. I mean, a lot of those are just my default setting. I'll be perfectly honest, but I do have an anxiety disorder. And she actually goes on to say, once those senses are triggered, it almost feels like the ball starts rolling and becomes a snowball effect. It grows and grows until it becomes overwhelming. And if it goes unchecked, sensory overload can even lead to a panic attack. And I have had panic attacks because my senses were just, I was so overloaded and I couldn't figure that out. And it just, life is all trial and error. So we've all been uncomfortable in uncomfortable places, and it made it worse for ourselves as, and everyone has this, like everyone. Are some people more susceptible? Yeah, of course. So what conditions are associated with sensory overload? Anxiety, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, autism spectrum disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder. Look at me checking off all the boxes. So it would be weird if I didn't get overloaded fairly easily. Isn't that fun? So here's the thing, though. It really is everyone. Like, if you don't fall into those 4 categories, you're still gonna have sensory overload. Because our senses are triggered by stuff all the time. And you learn something new every day. I was talking with my therapist this morning about some stomach illness I had over the weekend that, caught me very suddenly off guard and made for a very, very eventful Saturday. Which left me drained for the last, I'm still not great, and it's Tuesday now. So what she pointed out to me was like, when we feel bad, our senses are going through it too. And we're being overloaded, but we're so focused on the fact that we feel bad, we're not even realizing that we're being overstimulated. Like if you have a runny nose, that's so annoying. It makes me lose my mind. And the worst part is, like, if it doesn't run, then you're just stuffed up and you've got like the whole like sinus headache thing. But when it is running, it's just like, oh my goodness, this, mucus, it's both sticky and slimy. That's a horrible sensation. Both of those. Very high up on my please don't sensations. So it never occurred to me that any time I'm sick, one of the reasons it'll take me so long to bounce back is that everything about being sick has overloaded my senses. Either the illness itself removed them, or just affected them, or the repercussions of that illness have just stressed me out. Like, obviously, GI distress is disgusting, so naturally, a lot of my senses had some very strong feelings, and still do. And that's, I think we're all there. I had a niece who informed her mom she did not want to learn to wipe herself because it was gross. And her mom was like, yeah, that's why I don't want to do it anymore. Like, kids, right? More power to you. So, what can we do about sensory overload since we all have it? Guess what? There's no one thing, there's no one cure. It's kind of figuring it out. They say one of the recommendations here from Dr. Tworick. Did I say it better that time? I feel like I did. I still don't know what the actual pronunciation is. We're just gonna go with it. She recommend, like they say, deep breathing exercises, meditation, or guided imagery. I'll be honest. I'm sure those things are great. Deep breathing exercises and I don't actually get along. I will overthink breathing and forget how to do it, which made for some very dicey yoga instructions. And meditation, my brain is too active. I've never been able to just. I'm always thinking and introspecting. I'm my yoga meditation is like counting my holds. That is how I do it. But a good thing, if you won't overthink how to breathe, is they call it the 3-3-3. So you breathe in through your nose for 3 counts, hold your breath for 3 counts, breathe out through your mouth for 3 counts, and repeat that as needed. So one cycle is 9 seconds. I just will forget how to breathe, but you do you. To break me out of something, I will need to shock my senses in a different way. If I'm on a thing, like Pete will give me external stimuli to like help me come back to reality, or I found like a sour warhead or something will just immediately help you kick back in. It's only if you're cognizant you're having a thing, though. So, can sensory overload be prevented? I mean, maybe. 1, identify your triggers. So this is hard because you're going to have to look for patterns, because anytime you're overloaded, it's going to be harder for you to realize that you're in fact overloaded. Like, I am now just right here thinking about all the different times throughout my entire 4 decades of existence, being like, oh, yeah, oh, no, yes, all of those things. Like, I have been so overstimulated, so just sensory overloaded for so much without realizing it, and just soldiering on, because what else am I supposed to do? Life doesn't stop just because you're freaking out. You just got to keep going. But notice patterns. If you notice you really have issues with certain things, start to try and figure out why. Ask yourself, what is it that I keep doing or feeling or seeing or sensing that causes this thing in me? Which can be hard to do. And it might change over time, but just check in with yourself. When you had a hard time, check in with yourself and evaluate, is there anything that I could do to prevent ever having to feel things quite like that again? And then number 2, practice your coping strategies, which is hard. But they're telling me right here to just breathe. They're bringing up the 3-3-3 again, which, but honestly, if I call my mom while I'm having a panic attack, her first words are breathe. And that's good advice. And sometimes you do need to be reminded, because I'll forget to breathe just in general, even if I'm not overthinking it, because it's hard to overthink your life and also breathe, turns out, and breathing's very important. Um, but yeah, just anything you find that helps you cope and prevent those sensory overloads, try to implement them into your daily life so that it becomes more second nature. So when you start to feel that, or maybe you won't feel that if you're practicing. It's hard to say. You do you. We'll figure it out. So the third one, seek help if you need it. And if you have tried everything, or even if you haven't, even if you just want a little help or don't have to figure it out on your own, ask for help. Look for someone. Talk to a loved one, a family friend, therapist, anything. Something that will help you. We all have senses. They're gonna overload. It's how do we soften the blow? How do we keep it from happening quite as often or quite as bad so that the next time we're better prepared, or maybe there won't be a next time? Dare to dream. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Breathe. And if all else fails, don't forget to always tuck and roll. Softens the landing.